If there is no election, no funds should be allocated. You are not given that recommendation. Elections is mandated, just like assembly and parliament. These panchayat elections will have to be held. I don't think any government in power can say no. The Gram Sabhas are strengthened and empowered. And the very spirit of the amendment to the constitution is nullified. We will have to do it. With the elected government, they do not function and they do not respond to the aspirations of the people. Then ultimately, democratic process itself will take care of the aspirations of the generation next. We think, suppose we don't do it in the government or in the legislature or the parliament, the lawyers will take up this matter with the Supreme Court and do it. Suppose they also don't do it, people themselves will do it. That is why the constitutional aspirations will have to be taken serious consideration by all the organs of the government. I think, let us not think that our obligation is over. No. We have to live through this letter and spirit of the constitutional aspirations of this country. If we don't live through that, any lack of it will definitely erode the fundamentals of the democracy. I am quite, excited to see all the experts here. You name anyone here, is an expert on Panchayat Raj. I was highly benefited by them when I was Chief Minister, Planning Minister, Finance Minister. There is a fund of knowledge available, and our duty is only to encash upon that knowledge, the treasure of knowledge. There are experts all over the country. It's not confined only to Karnataka. Now, I hear Professor Alok, and before that, while giving an introduction, he gave a critical introduction. My friend Veerappa. I remember because his his brother was my colleague in Devaraja's ministry. Then he was my minister for rural development when I was chief minister. And he was as much or more critical than our friend.
ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಹೋರಾಟ ಒಂದು ಕಥೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಮರೆಮಾಚಿದ ಹೋರಾಟಗಳ ಅನಾವರಣ. ಭಾರತದ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ಏಕೀಕರಣ ಒಂದೇ ಹೋರಾಟದ ಎರಡು ಮುಖಗಳು. ಜೈ ಹಿಂದ್, ಜಯ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶೇಷಾಂಕ ಈಗಲೇ ಓದಿ ಹಂಚಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ.
When the amendment to the constitution came, I think Srinivas Murthy or Meena Sundaram, they must be knowing. Both of us were anxious to see that we should be the forerunners in enacting Panchayat Raj here, in pursuance to this letter and spirit of the constitutional amendment. We had number of sittings. Of course, our wavelength was the same. I said, yes, we should be more progressive than the amendments. No, the very original amendment. That is how, even though it was not mandatory to have reservation for the backward classes, I think we are the pioneers in the country to introduce political reservation in our amendment to the constitution, in our amendment act. And I think we were the forerunners in conducting elections also on the panchayats, in accordance with the constitutional amendment. And we succeeded. It politically benefited us. We were anxious to have next phase of election for the Taluk Panchayats and also for the Jilla Panchayats. Then, there are vested interests outside a political party. There are also vested interests within the political party. So they thought that Veerappa and Mr. Moily will become politically more powerful if you allow them to conduct the Tal Panchayats and Jila Panchayats. If you were to conduct that, I think we would have not have confronted the debacle in the next assembly election. Debacle was because of the Babri Masjid, and wherever we had 10% of Muslim population, Muslim voters in the assembly election, we lost 110 constituencies. Otherwise, my strength would have been 110 by 39. But we were blamed. No, it is because of Moily we lost the assembly election. Fact was that because of that Babri Masjid, the Muslims went against it as en masse. Because in the elections, no political party can antagonize any particular community. Then you face the debacle, maybe Muslim community or any other community. So I was helpless because everybody was against the election, including the command at that time. Then Ghorpade resigned my ministry and went out. Rightly. So that is how it is in the blood. Ghorpade, when he said, critically analyzed and said, yes. I don't know whether Mr. Narayan Swamy in his report has said, I don't think he has said. No. If there is no election, no fund should be allocated. You are not given that recommendation. But I think I did not see specifically. I think the elections is mandated, just like assembly and parliament. These panchayat elections will have to be held. I don't think any government in power can say no to it. And the democracy is such that we have to go by the rule of law, the constitution. I think we have flouted the constitution by not conducting elections, whether to the municipalities or corporations or the panchayats. That we need to address the question. Another point, of course, I have limited time, that is how only few points I will pick up, particularly on the Gram Sabha. I think this is one provision which is, it's a direct democracy. And I think I was asking Mr. Narayan Swamy whether he has allocated very specific funds on the Gram Sabha. He said no. He said programs will have to be approved. Where is the point? Mr. Alokji has already said, where merely programs are not going to help you anywhere unless specific provision for funds are made. For the Gram Sabha, they should have. That kind of an independence has been provided in the constitution itself. Because in the Gram Sabhas, as the foundation of the Panchayat Raj system to perform function, powers entrusted to it by the state legislatures. Unless the Gram Sabhas are strengthened and empowered, and the very spirit of the amendment to the constitution is nullified. We'll have to do it. And I think the seminar will have to discuss on that and say that Gram Sabha, you strengthen it. I think you have strengthened the real democracy, as you see in the amendment to the constitution. You can't take powers away. I think now even the planning is not allowed. They are not allowed to even select the beneficiaries. Gram Sabhas is done. We have been thinking that this democracy stops with the legislature, and the legislators are the ultimate boss of this democracy of this country. This cannot be. Constitution is important. And when you say constitution, the panchayats are important, local boards are also. I have given a very big chapter on the under the ERC report, I got a very big and effective chapter on this local governance. Look, there's a exclusive and a very exhaustive report on the local governance. It speaks about inclusive government. I'm telling you about the local governance. And see, that's the real foundation of democracy. And if you shake that foundation, democracy itself cannot survive. We speak of generation next movements these days. And it is now, we found that in the neighborhoods, generation next, they took the politics, democracy to the streets. I think we should appreciate Tamil Nadu. Through democratic form, they came out with generation next. I think that is going to happen. With the elected government, they do not function. And they do not respond to the aspirations of the people. Then ultimately, democratic process itself will take care of the aspirations of the generation next. This is the demonstration, I think, first time it has happened within our country. Otherwise, they have not gone to the streets, but they have chosen the election as a medium to inject the revolutionary measures. This is what every political party will have to be conscious of it. We know very well that the Alokji has been talking about many things. But many a time, sometimes the bureaucracy can also sabotage. I give one instance, where I was heading an oversight committee, that is the 33%, I think, 27% reservation to OBCs in all the apex institutions like IIT, IIM, AIMS and many things. You remember? I can give an instance. Of course, within my own committee there was a lot of problem. They wanted to sabotage the very intention of the, I think, 44th Amendment or so. But anyway, I passed through it. I gave a report to Dr. Manmohan Singh, our then Prime Minister, and he implemented it. When my report was implemented, I was happy that yes, it is implemented, and I was happy, patting our own back. Once my good friend was former Advocate General of Karnataka, Professor Veerappa Moily, rushed to my house at Delhi during lunchtime. He said, "Sir, the Constitutional Bench is going to strike down the amendment." I said, "What happened to my report? The report has been implemented and the reports have not been placed before the judges." Can you imagine how the bureaucracy can sabotage? How? It's an instance, which I found. I said, how is it to know those reports have not come to the hands of the judges, all the 5 judges? They were said. And Professor Ravivar Kumar, he was arguing for some party in the very same case. He said, "I will give these reports." He came to me, asked me 5 copies of the report. Fortunately, those reports were with me. Handed over those reports. Fortunately, the Constitution Bench, they desisted from pronouncing the judgment. They took another 10 days. And of course, ultimately, the constitutional amendment, as recommended by my report, was implemented. I'm just telling you how at every stage the vested interest can entrench and sabotage the democratic aspirations. This has happened. It is one instance, where I am a party to it. So that's why, we have to be very vigilant about it. The time has now come that, nobody can take the people for granted. If you don't do it, they know how to do it, either through the electoral process or they take the matters to the streets. So elections will have to be held. I think the government will definitely take these things very seriously, Louis. I appreciate that the here our constitution has given everything to us. The ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯದ ಹಕ್ಕು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸಂವಿಧಾನದ ಪ್ರತಿಜ್ಞೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಇವತ್ತು ಸಭೆಯ ಮೊದಲು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸಾಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಕ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಹಕ್ಕು ಹಾಗೂ ಸಂವಿಧಾನಾತ್ಮಕ ಪರಿಹಾರೋಪಗಳ ಹಕ್ಕು, ಸುಮಾರು 6 categories of the rights have been given in the Constitution of India. I think we have to find out now, we have to list out what happened to them. Rights have been given, but the rights have been taken away. Either, by some way or other. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಸಮಾಜದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು, that is how you find these ripples in the society. That is also because of so many discrepancies. For example, the caste. Part 3 of the Constitution, we say ಜನತೆಯ ಮೂಲಭೂತ ಹಕ್ಕುಗಳನ್ನು ನಿಗದಿಪಡಿಸಿದೆ ಹಾಗೂ ಜಾತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅಸಮಾನತೆಯ ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಲಿಷ್ಠವಾಗಿ ನಿಂತಿರುವ ಅನಿಷ್ಟಗಳ ತಾರತಮ್ಯ ಮತ್ತು ಶೋಷಣೆ, ಇವುಗಳಿಗೆ ಒಳಗಾಗುವ ಅಸ್ಪೃಶ್ಯರು, ಮಹಿಳೆಯರು, ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಮತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಪಸಂಖ್ಯಾತ ಹಕ್ಕುಗಳ ರಕ್ಷಣೆಗಳನ್ನು ರೂಪಿಸಿದೆ. We have to list out what is our performance on all these things. I know if you don't do it now, the time has come that there is a challenge of the time. Either people take it to the streets, or to the electoral process, they can demolish all these established political parties which they cannot perform. We will perform. The people take the right in their own hands. And Tamil Nadu the elections are the signal to it. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು, I don't think you can anymore defer the constitutional aspirations. They will have to be done. Now we feel that the ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಕೇವಲ ನ್ಯಾಯವಾದಿಗಳ ಕೈಯೊಳಗಿನ ದಾಖಲೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ಉತ್ತಮ ಬದುಕಿನ ವಾಹಕ ಹಾಗೂ ಅದರ ಶಕ್ತಿಯೇ ತಲೆಮಾರುಗಳ ಉತ್ತಮ ಬದುಕಿನ ಜೀವಾಳ. ಇದನ್ನು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ B.R. ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ಅವರು ಬಹಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. We think suppose we don't do it in the government or in the legislature or the parliament, the lawyers will take up this matter with the Supreme Court and do it. Suppose they also don't do it, people themselves will do it. And this is what is happening in the country or elsewhere in the world, is that the people will take these things cudgels together, because there is a level of patience with which the electorate can work. But if it goes beyond that, I think the people themselves will take this. If that cannot be done by electoral battle, if it can be done by electoral battle, yes, it can be done. Suppose it cannot be done electoral battle, people will take to the streets. We need to be very careful about all these things. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ಬರೀ ಬಹಳ ಅಲೋಕ್ ಅವರು ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಿದರು, ಫಿನಾನ್ಸ್ ಕಮಿಷನ್ಸ್, you find only the representatives of the finance ministry, they nominate who should do it. It's highly undemocratic process. The states are not taken into confidence. All the organs of the constitutions, they are not taken into confidence. I don't think this arbitrariness, as is rightly said, what happened in Australia. Some parts of Australia, they said that we see, and same our country is in a similar position. The time may come, the geographically or sociologically, there may be societies and societies, they feel let down and they take up the cudgels themselves, either ask for a seat or for a segregation. I don't think it should happen. That is why the constitutional aspirations will have to be taken serious consideration by all the organs of the government, whether it's the government of India or the state government. You cannot trample it down just because it's not convenient to me. It is not just because it's not convenient to my community, just because it is not convenient to my caste, just because it's not coming, to my society. I think what should be done, that whether it is convenient to the population at large, and you need to address these problems. And we have the ಸಂವಿಧಾನದ ಒಂದು ಯಂತ್ರದ ಹಾಗೆ, ಅದು ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಂವಿಧಾನ ಒಂದು ಯಂತ್ರದ ಹಾಗೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಜೀವವಿಲ್ಲ. ಸಂವಿಧಾನವನ್ನು ಯಾರು ನಿಯಂತ್ರಿಸುತ್ತಾರೋ, ಯಾರು ಅದನ್ನು ಕಾರ್ಯಗತಗೊಳಿಸುತ್ತಾರೋ, ಅವರಿಂದಲೇ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಜೀವ ಬರುತ್ತದೆ, ಅವರಿಂದಲೇ ಜೀವ ಹೋಗ್ತದೆ. You may lose life. What happens when you lose, ಜೀವ ಬರುವುದು ಅಷ್ಟೇ, ಜೀವ ತೆಗೆಯುವುದು ಅವರೇ. ಜನರು ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡುವ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ ಸದ್ಗುಣಿಯಾಗಿರಬೇಕು, ಆತನಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲವನ್ನೂ ಒಳಗೊಳ್ಳುವ ಗುಣ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಜನರು ಆಯ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಿದ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗೆ ಈ ಯಾವ ಗುಣಗಳೂ ಇಲ್ಲದಿದ್ದರೆ ಸಂವಿಧಾನವು ಈ ದೇಶವನ್ನು ರಕ್ಷಿಸಲು ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗುತ್ತದೆ. So, by merely taking vote today, I think, let us not think that our obligation is over. No, we have to live through this letter and spirit of the constitutional aspirations of this country. And we practice casteism, we live the spirit of communalism, and we think this is my community, this is this country. Country is just opposite. The country is something different from that. It's a larger entity. Are we doing something, whether the elected people or the elected or any government, any organization, whether we respond to that larger interest of the society or not? This is very important. Corruption has become very rampant. Today we find a report that the Karnataka state stands third in number of corruption cases. So it's not a good certificate for Karnataka. We need to address those problems, because otherwise corruption will definitely erode very fast the democratic ethos. When the democratic ethos disappear, then who will take charge? All these vested interests will take charge. We need to address them and allow the democratic institutions to function properly. You created the institutions, and allow them to function. You don't allow them to function, then what is called, then it will result in anarchy. People take the cudgels themselves. This is what we need to be careful about it. And social justice is an important element in the functioning of a democracy. It is an important gel in the cog of the democratic setup. And if you deny that, you will be denied the right of social justice. Perhaps the democratic machinery itself will erode. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ಬಹಳ ಚರ್ಚೆಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ನೀವು ಕೈಗೆ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಅದನ್ನು ಇವತ್ತು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಇದು ಬರೀ ಡಿಬೇಟಿಗಾಗಿರುವುದಲ್ಲ, ಅಥವಾ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ ಆಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್ಗಾಗಿರುವುದಲ್ಲ. We have to live through the democratic ethos of this country. If you don't live through that, any lack of it will definitely erode the fundamentals of the democracy. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ತಾವು ಚರ್ಚೆ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಇದು ಬರೀ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ಅನುಷ್ಠಾನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಟು ದಿ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್, ದಿ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ, ಇದು ನಿಜವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಡೀ ದೇಶದ ಬದುಕಿನ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಪ್ರಾಮುಖ್ಯತೆಯನ್ನು ಪಡೆದಿದ್ದರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಬದುಕು ಸರ್ವನಾಶ. ಇದು ಇನ್ ದ ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಲಿ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟುಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲಿವ್ಡ್ ಥ್ರೂ. ಭಾಳ ಸಂತೋಷ ಇವತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯವರು ಈ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಚರ್ಚೆಗೆ ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಇದು ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇದು ಅನುಷ್ಠಾನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದು ಸರ್ಕಾರ, ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಇದನ್ನು ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಆಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನಲ್ ಅಮೆಂಡ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಕಾನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಷನ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅದರ್ವೈಸ್ ದೇರ್ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಎ ಪೆರಿಲ್ ಟು ದಿ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರಸಿ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಂಟ್ರಿ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಈ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆಗಲಿ. ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಕೂಡ, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿನಿಯರು ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ದೇಶದ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವ ಉಳಿಬೇಕಾದರೆ ದಿ ಡೆಮೋಕ್ರೆಟಿಕ್ ಆಸ್ಪಿರೇಷನ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿ ರೆಸ್ಪಾಂಡೆಡ್ ಟು ಇಫೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ಲಿ, ಪರ್ಫೆಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅದು ಅದರ ಕೊರತೆ ಆದರೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾಧಕ ಆದರೆ, democratic setup itself will collapse, and at all cost, as citizens of the country, we need to protect the democratic edifice at any cost. And ಇದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿಯವರು ಅವರ ನೇತೃತ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅನೇಕ ಜನ ಬಲಿದಾನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ ಬಲಿದಾನ ವ್ಯರ್ಥ ಆಗಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕೂಡ ನಾನು ಅದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಮಹಾತ್ಮ ಗಾಂಧಿಯವರು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಪಂಚಾಯತ್ ರಾಜ್ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷವಾದಂಥ ಪ್ರಾಮುಖ್ಯತೆ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ಯಾಕಂತ ಇದ್ದರೆ ಅದೇ ಈ ದೇಶದ ಪ್ರಜಾಪ್ರಭುತ್ವದ ಜೀವಾಳ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಹೇಳಿ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಶುಭವಾಗಲಿ. ಚರ್ಚೆ ಅದರ ಅನುಷ್ಠಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದು ಪರಿವರ್ತನೆ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕೂಡ ಹಾರೈಸಿ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ.
ಮತ್ತಷ್ಟು ವಿಶೇಷ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡಲು ಮತ್ತು ಹೊಸ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿಯಲು
ಈ ದಿನ .com ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ
ಮತ್ತು ಬೆಲ್ ಐಕಾನ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ.